Just to sort of put into context what Meadow was saying, the day that the bomb happened in Omagh, I spent 14 years as a teacher in Omagh, and that particular day, Stanley will know this well, was the day the World Pipe Band Championships were on in Glasgow, and we were all heading to the finale, and Alistair Patterson, who's from Castlebar, was shouting my name from a great distance, and I wondered, like, this is not the usual sort of behaviour. And Alistair called me over and said, you need to get on to your principal and find out there's been a terrible bomb in Omagh. And I phoned the principal, and he said, look, nobody knows anything. I couldn't get through. The phones all were down, couldn't even get through, so it was all sorry. But I was in Omagh on a Monday, in school, even though it was the holidays. And it's a point that needs to be made, and Kenny made it earlier on, and I'm trying to move this thing in this direction, that victims can't be seen as being an isolated entity outside their community. We need to start to get our communities realising that the victims are an integral part of their community, and vice versa, and that one moves the other on. And in terms of, and Pat made the point in terms of going from point 1 to point 5, and I have to give the families here great credit for having the courage to come here today. But one of the things we have to realise as well is that in many ways those families, they give most to the peace process. They have gone from point 1 and they're expected to go to point 5, so they are, and the middle bit doesn't seem to count. And the bit that they're struggling with is points 2, 3 and 4, okay, in terms of reconciliation. But if you were in Omagh that day that I went into school, Omagh was a sad, sad place. I mean, even the Killyclocker Parish Church, the great Rebane Dug, and there's two schools of great relationships together, and always had in that time. So just sort of tying what Kenny said, Michael said, and Pat said, I think at the end of the day what we have to realise is, and innocent victims in particular, they have given their lot, so they have given everything towards a better future. So I'd just like to share a few ideas with you. I'd like to try and put in context what it was like. I'm here to speak on behalf of the Graham family. I take you from the week before the murder of David Black. The shooting was on the 15th of March 1977. I'd like to take you from that days before that, put in context what life was like then, and take you through to the present day, and hopefully not take any more than 5 minutes. The week before David had been shot, I'm referring to notes that I've taken from Eileen, who's sitting here in front of me, mother-in-law, absolute superstar. So she is. She had dreamt that Davy had been shot, but that he was okay. And they had planned the night before to go out for a night. Davy had to go to an event with his mother, a concert in Killyman Parish Hall, and he took the two boys, Derek and Alan, with him. Whereas Eileen was going to McNeish Hall in Stewartstown, and she took Serena, my wife, with her. On the 16th of March 1977, which was the day after the shooting, they would have been married 13 years. And Eileen referred to the fact that Davy had been looking forward to a week's holidays in around the 17th of March, and he was making plans for what he was going to do with the garden. And that all was well. We were trying to look at what we were going to do during that week. But on the Tuesday the 15th of March, Eileen referred to was the worst day of our lives. On Tuesday morning, Davy appeared very happy, planning our garden as he had done, because he was having a week's holidays. He said goodbye to both of them, and Derek said goodbye to his father before he left for work. Eileen had also had a dream or nightmare, whatever you want to call it, of her other brother, her other son, Alan, who she had dreamt was covered in blood as he had got him and was in a fight in Henderson's shop nearby. She now knows that there was a meaning to all these dreams. Alan that morning had jumped out of bed unexpectedly. She had told him to get back into bed. It was much too early to get up. Eileen stayed up and was making scrambled egg when she thought she saw Serena standing at the door of the kitchen. Didn't pass any real remarks and went back down to the room to make sure that she was okay and found Serena fast asleep in bed. She felt that was very strange. Just after that there was a knock to the door and Mrs. Boyd and two workmen from Mastock factory where Davy Graham worked arrived. They said there had been a horrible accident at the factory but that Davy would be fine. They then went to the hospital where she was told that Davy had been shot and badly injured. They flew him to the Royal Victoria Hospital in Belfast. He was there for 10 days. There were lots of prayers and the healing was remarkable considering his injuries. However, his kidneys started to fail and he died on Friday the 25th of March 1977 at 2:30 p.m. David Graham was a part-time member of the UDR. He was shot in the back by people who knew him, that we have no doubt. He was going to put his lunchbox on the table in the canteen, and the workers, many of whom were his friends, knew then and know now who murdered him. And for the Grahams, this continued silence is one of a major barrier to peace and reconciliation. Serena remembers the day when her mum returned home from the Royal Victoria Hospital, as she did every day. And after hearing that things had got a wee bit better, she was waiting to hear how her dad was recovering, only to be told the words, "He's gone, he's gone." That was all her mother could say. Serena remembers turning into the cushion and thinking about not being able to see her father again. Her life had changed forever. David Graham was brutally murdered in the most cruel fashion, a man that we would have wanted to be part of any shared future. Because he's a real local man with friends from all sections of the community. And anybody who knows Killeen would know that there's a real mix of people there, and that's the way it was then. He had a real passion for greyhounds, and he loved working with different people to get the dogs ready for the races. The Graham family believe in the statement that nobody may ever call murder by any other name than murder, and nobody has the right to prevent them as a family or any other similar family the right to pursue justice. Justice is a cornerstone of any credible democracy. Justice is a human right for a murdered person as well as those left behind, and a lack of justice for innocent victims is a real barrier to any credible peace or reconciliation. So why has justice not been served for so many of these horrendous crimes against our community? Because that's what it was. That crime might have been David Graham in Killeen, but that was an attack on the community. Omagh was an attack on the community. Floddy was an attack on the community. It wasn't just those individuals who were buried. Part of the work that I was asked to do today was to start to talk about how it affected in the bigger picture, transgenerational type things. And very quickly, Serena gave me a few things that changed for her. They had to grow up very quickly, and they had to learn to deal with the loss of a father. They had to watch their mother be strong, but deep down they all knew she was really struggling. We all had to leave school early. We had to go to a secondary school and after moving house, which wasn't a pleasant experience. An achievement was little or no qualifications. Family life had been hard with the constant memories, anniversaries, key events like marriages, grandchildren being born, and Christmas dinner with no father to share and celebrate with. We have all had difficulties with health, and Trina herself now is disabled. In fact, today, she really wanted to be here today, but instead of being here today, she's in bed, not able to make it, either because of her disablement or because she was so excited about getting here, she just couldn't hang it. I'm not too sure which one of those, might be both. One of the hardest things for me to cope with, as Trina saying, is the fact that this past 14 years in particular, my father's life has been undermined and disrespected by those who have issues with the state. My father was murdered by IRA terrorists. They were proud to take responsibility for it in 1977, and it is only reasonable for them to be accountable for it now. I also have struggled with how the re-traumatisation of innocent victims has been allowed to occur through the creation of a hierarchy of victims. We would give an ATT paperwork exercise, not a proper murder investigation, as my family had the right to expect. Millions have been and are being spent for justice for a few. However, this is not about money for the Graham family. It is about recognition, acknowledgement and respect for the fact that David Graham was a sound community man who wanted to serve everyone. The Graham family is only one example of how the loss of a loved one through terrorism will end up suffering in more ways than anyone could ever anticipate. The effect on the direct family was like dropping a pebble in a pool. The ripples spread out from the centre and keep going. The effects can pass from generation to generation. And my daughter Danielle, through Seth, attended the World Peace Conference in Boston last year. And I can personally pay tribute to Kenny for doing that. But Trina was so proud that her daughter made that event. It was part of a charity called Tuesday's Child, which was set up after the 9/11 terrorist attack in New York. Part of the work they're doing is a dignity project through Harvard University to try to further understand the impact of terrorism through generations. The whole focus of this country must be that we stop rewarding violence and terrorism and that we start rewarding peace. And if you can't take part in that, then I'm afraid that's where we all have to say, you're not with the rest of us. Innocent victims want peace as much now as they ever did. It's just not something that has come on board. The people I'm talking to never wanted anything else but peace. So storytelling was mentioned as being a powerful tool to help victims and survivors deal with these issues. However, it will be pointless doing this on the one hand, encouraging people to tell their most personal thoughts, and at the same time they're being made to accept a narrative that contradicts the reality of what happened to their loved one. It seems to me that the battle for the truth is going to be a long one and could very well end up being longer than the troubles themselves. In terms of education then, to finish off, it's a little surprising that educational achievement, career opportunities and subsequent life experiences for those who lost a father or a close relative have been greatly diminished, and some people have already made reference to that earlier on. We must also recognise that Eileen Graham did not get adequate compensation to allow her to concentrate on bringing up her children. Indeed, she had to get up in front of a judge and beg for some compensation to allow her under the rule of 16, while another family did not have to make representation of the judge and got much more compensation than the Graham family got. So this is about recognition, respect for life, acknowledgement, truth and pride. Looking at the bigger picture as an educationalist, I have concerns that in schools we've ignored the effect of a loved one being murdered through terrorism, and we are still hiding from the truth about learning what trauma can do if it sweeps through the door of a house. My daughters never knew David Graham, their grandfather, and the pain and anguish they experience comes from watching their grandmother and their mother cope with what is being handed to them on a daily basis. The last 14 years have been truly remarkable in many ways for lots of aspects of life in Northern Ireland, but for many innocent victims it has been a torture. It has been so hurtful. The family and countless others have been used and sacrificed for the inadequacies and feelings of others. The civilised, caring, fair and compassionate society, which is at the centre of any credible democracy, as far as the Graves are concerned, is at present and in the last 14 years looking more like the laws of the jungle and survival of the most powerful. This is not what innocent victims want, and remember, they have contributed with their lives to this process, and they have not been recognised in any shape or form. They have been marginalised, forgotten and isolated. Why should we continue to let this happen? Thank you very much.